Hey, welcome back to the Black and Gold Standard Podcast. And today we want to get into the coaching staff. The Steelers coaching staff is starting to come together. Um, this is a very fluid, um, I guess you could say, process that's going on. It's still some guys that's actually getting interviewed today. I know of at least one coach is getting interviewed tomorrow, and I'm quite sure those interviews are going to lead to those guys being hired. Um, this is kind of weird because, like I say, the Steelers haven't been through this so long that I mean, most of us fans, that this is a whole new process, and one of the things that I see is this is a very fluid situation. I mean, I think it's probably somewhat of a headache, actually. I mean, because there's just so many teams that's looking to get new staff. So you got to deal with that. You have to deal with I mean, teams stealing your guys because I mean, obviously it's about the money. So you can probably have an agreement with someone, and until they put pen to paper, somebody else can call them and say, hey, you know, not only will we give you more money, we'll give you a title. I mean, well, I'm not even gonna say just give a person a title, but they'll give you another title, in which obviously is gonna get you more money, and you think you got a guy wrapped up, and he's off to another team. So I just know this is probably a real hectic time for the head coaches to really try to get a staff together. Because, like I say, when you have over 10 coaches trying to get hired basically at the same time, um, that's over 100 something guys that you're trying to get signed and get into your building. So like I say, this is a very fluent situation going on right now. It's probably some guys that have been reported that they probably going to be that coach. But what I'm trying to do is just kind of wait until it's official, and we'll deal with that. And with that said, I guess we can really just kind of move on to what the Steelers have done so far and see what's going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let me see if I can find it here. Let's see. Let's see. Um, let's see here. If we can find this thing here. So while I try to find what I'm looking for, um, I just think so far the guys that I've heard that have been signed, um, really don't have no issues with those guys. It almost seems like um, the Roonies are putting up the money. It seems like at the end of the day, I have to go back and look and see exactly how many coaches the Steelers had, but it seems like this is going to be a bigger staff for sure. And so it seems like the Roonies is giving the giving Mike McCarthy everything that he needs, and this is something that we've always fussed about and had issues with as far as giving your coach every opportunity that he needs to you know, giving your coach everything that he needs, all the coachings that he needs to to be successful. And I think we just don't know. And like I say, I'm not here to bash anybody, but we just don't know what the situation was with Mike Tomlin. I mean, was they not giving him the guys that he needed, or and I'm not gonna go through all that. We've heard all the different scenarios and different things that may may or may not have been true about Mike Tomlin and his coaching staff. So we'll just kind of leave that at that. And right now, I cannot find what I'm looking for here. I'm not finding what I'm looking for. Mhm. So, with that said, um, my personal opinion on coaches is you got to some people like a lot of coaches and feel like they need some people feel like they need a lot of coaches. Um, and I just think in this game now, the way the game is played, um, this is where a lot of your younger coaches come in and kind of build up your staff, and you have a lot of I guess you could say a lot of younger guys that you know quality coaches and all that type of stuff. And I know for a fact the Steelers did have some of those guys, but you look at the team like the Rams, and I mean they have a million guys on the sideline, and yeah, um, the only good thing I see about that is you just get a lot of different opinions. You just get a lot of different opinions in the coaching room, and just get a lot of different ideas. So like I say, I think this is a exciting thing. Hey Yolanda, how you doing? um where are the Ravens at as far as their staff? Have they put together a lot of guys for their staff yet? um I am just trying to find my graphics, and right now I can't find them. That's weird. Let's see here. We are really trying to find. We're trying to find the right graphics for this thing. Here we go. All right, so let's get to it. Let's get to it right here. Let me see here. Let's answer. I'm just. Yes, we just hired our DC today. OC was hired last week. The Ravens are making moves. Okay. Yeah, all right. She said the Ravens making moves. And that's one thing. Um the one thing about hiring assistants, it's gonna be about guys that guys that you feel comfortable with, guys that you got relationships with. So a lot of times you pretty much go into it. You probably and talk to a lot of guys even before you even got the job, to let guys know, hey, I'm up for this job, and if I get it, I want to bring you with me. So you probably have a lot of commitments, even before you get announced. So that's a situation there. But with the Steelers, let's move over to the offensive coaches. The offensive coordinator position as of right now is open. I do know that they're doing an interview today, and I think the offensive coordinator is a person that his name is floating out there. But like I say, this stuff is so fluent. I just want to wait until it's official before I say it. So I think the offensive coordinator position will be filled um, probably by the day, actually. It probably at least be made official. So one of the guys that the Steelers did bring back is the quarterback coach, Tom Art. And this is like one of the, we always say we want an up and coming guy and passing well just a quarterback coach. But I think he's a guy that obviously the quarterbacks love him. He worked real well with those guys. This is really the first time the Steelers have had a quarterback coach in a few years. So I think he's been with the Steelers for 2 seasons or maybe 3 seasons. So this is a guy that they bought back. When you look at him, another local Cleveland guy, I guess you could say. He's actually from Cleveland. Anybody that know about football here in the Cleveland area, he played for Saint Nations. That's one of the big powerhouse football schools here in Cleveland, Ohio. So he went to John Carroll, which again is a lot of guys. McVay, there's a lot of guys that come out that little small college, and I think it's going to be a little connection here with a player that I got in my draft that maybe the Steelers may be looking at. That's from John Carroll. And John Carroll's just a little D3 school, but it's a lot of talent that come out of there. Don Shula went there, so it's a lot of big time people and came out of that school, believe it or not. But right now, you can see he was the offensive coordinator there, quarterback coach. He was the head coach there for 3 years. He was the head coach at Chattanooga. He was the head coach at the Akron Zips. Wow. Again, that's a diabolical D1 school right down the road that I don't know what's going on there. They should be much better than what their program is that, but that's another whole story. Then he went over to the Chargers and he was the passing game specialist there, and then the Steelers hired him in 24, and he's been the quarterback coach, and so they bought him back. So that's a good thing. Like I say, he's gonna work with the quarterbacks. He got a good relationship. So even if they want to do something with Will Howard, they got that relationship. Then obviously Rodgers. I don't know how much quarterback coach Rodgers need at this point in his deal, but that's one of the things that they have done. He has a great relationship with those guys, and he's one of the coaches that was bought back. All right. This is a guy that it kind of got weird. That's why I say this is real diabolical because at first it was reported that he was going to be the offensive line assistant, and that's Raymond Chinyoung. And after it was all said, that's why it's so hard to really report on this stuff, and just until they truly figure it all out, because sometimes you just want to get a guy in your building, probably get him signed, and then they'll work on where they're gonna put him, But he's gonna move over to the running back. He's gonna be the running back coach. Again, and it's going to be a recurrent theme. And he was assistant line coach with the Cowboys until he left. He started in 23, so he's one of McCartney's guys. So he like I say, it's all about relationships to me. I think you're going to bring guys in that you're comfortable with, and obviously that you think can coach. I mean, you're just not going to bring a guy because you work with him, but obviously you think he's a good coach, and so he worked with the Cowboys offensive line, in which they had a solid line, while he was there. And then he moved over to the running backs. As you can see, he was a quality control coach for the Denver Broncos in 22. And that's when he started his career. And he spent decades coaching high school football in Texas. And everybody know how, big high school football is in Texas. So he kind of came from the high school ranks and worked his way in, and he's going to be the running back coach for the Steelers. And like I said, this is how stuff is just moving so crazy, because at first it was announced that he was going to be working with the offensive line. James Camplin, another veteran quarterback, another Green Bay Packer, another Green Bay Packer. Um, he's a veteran coach. I think he's been out of football maybe 2 years. His last stop was in Carolina. I mean, maybe even been out 3 years. His last stop was with Carolina. Um, this guy here, very interesting story. And if you can find it, you can find it online. Him and Aaron Rodgers is like close. Aaron Rodgers holds him in a high regard. And one of the things that Aaron Rodgers kind of, I ain't gonna say let out the bag, but this is the type person coach is. So he says that every road game, every road game. Now I don't know if it's just around the stadium, or maybe more than likely it must be around their team hotel. So basically, he gets up, walks outside of the team hotel, and so basically they staying downtown. So downtown of a major city, he takes $1,000 and he walks around and pass it out to the homeless. This is his routine. This is what he do. Like I say, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I think any coach on this staff, Aaron Rodgers is probably the closest to Coach Campen. I mean, and like I say, if you can find it on YouTube, he talks highly of him. So again, without saying it, you see the type staff that they're putting together, that you know that Aaron Rodgers is definitely comfortable with these guys. Wide receiver coach Adam Henry. Now he's coming over from the Buffalo Bills, and one of the things people will say, "Oh yeah, yeah, I definitely think Aaron Rodgers is coming back." Um, it's I won't say the it's one of those deals. They know, and I'm quite sure he and gave them word that he's coming back. I would be shocked. I'd be 100% shocked that if he's not running it back. Because the one thing about Aaron Rodgers, he's a very prideful guy, and he may act like things don't bother him, but it's no way that he was going to end his career as the last pass he threw in the NFL was going to be a pick six in the playoffs. I just can't see Aaron Rodgers ended in like that. Um, and you best to believe he wants to go on a playoff run if possible. I'm quite sure he watched the playoffs. I'm quite sure he was sick and probably felt like, if some things were better, if some things were different, he could have competed against the quarterbacks that he had to compete against moving forward. Now, the thing of it is now, maybe next year, Lamar gets his stuff together. Baltimore is in it. Um, Kansas City bounces back. Mahomes. I'm thinking Mahomes is gonna miss a little bit of the season, but maybe Mahomes get his stuff back together. Kansas City is back in there. Um, I think San Diego. I mean, the Chargers may be back in it. So you're gonna have, this was just one of those situations where all the top guys were sitting at home, and I'm quite sure you can't tell me it ate Aaron Rodgers up to see that he had no shot against the Houston Texans as bad as CJ Stroud played. I know he's probably like, man, I lost to this, So long story short, Aaron Rodgers is coming back. He'll be back. Now, how they gonna announce it and what's gonna go on with that, but he's gonna be back. But anyway, going back to the receivers coach, uh, coming from Buffalo, and a lot of people will say, well, the Bills is terrible. I wish they were, but they didn't have no talent. Like I say, you only can coach what you have, and he really didn't have any talent. But as you can see, again, this is another guy that worked with McCartney, and he's just bringing in all the guys that he's comfortable with, bringing in all the guys that he's comfortable with. It's gonna be a big challenge for him because the Steelers definitely need to revamp that receivers room. I think it will be definitely some moves made. I could see maybe the Steelers drafting two guys, signing a free agent. Um, I don't really know what they're gonna do with Calvin Austin. Would they bring him back? I'm thinking, especially if Rodgers is back, I think they'll bring Calvin Austin back because the thing with Rodgers, he want to work with guys he's worked with. So you got a young receiver like that. Now you can actually put him in his place as far as he's not a number two, but you can bring him in as a number three, in which that's what he is. And like I say, he's been through the Aaron Rodgers school of hard knocks, I guess you could say. So I could see if Rodgers comes back, Calvin Austin they probably bring him back, and he's just gonna have a room that he's used to working with. So that'll be Metcalf and Austin and another veteran. I mean, he'll work with a veteran now. It's gonna be hard rolling for that rookie. He's gonna have to be special, or he's gonna have to catch on quick. But I think if you can get Calvin Austin, DK, and bring in another veteran to be your number two, I think that will put the Steelers in a good position, and they can make they can make some things work, I think. But we will see. So the tight end position is open right now. But again, like I say, I think all these positions that's open would definitely be filled by next week. I mean, excuse me. I think by the end of this week. I think by Friday, and maybe yeah, I think by Friday these positions will be be filled. This is one that I'm very excited about, and this is a very smart move to me. And Jahari, oh, I can't even see this thing. What's going on here? Evans, yeah. So this is a all pro uh, guard that played for the New Orleans Saints. Um, actually, he may he may actually be a Hall of Famer. And as you can see right here, he he was highly recognized as one of the greatest linemen in New Orleans Saints history. And if you know, really Rowe played for the New Orleans Saints, and he's a Hall of Famer. So for him to get those type of endorsements lets you know that this is a big time player. He was a 6-time Pro Bowl selection. He was a 4-time first team All Pro. He won the Super Bowl with the Saints the year they won it. He was a member of the 2010 All Decade team. His coaching career, he just basically just been working with the Saints. He was an intern. He did the preseason intern, and then he came back and was just an offensive assistant. And then last year, he was assistant offensive line coach, and that's what the Steelers is bringing him in as. So I think this is the guy that, from the coaching standpoint, he's probably going to be groomed to take over and be the offensive line coach, especially if it comes to a point where they think they're going to lose him, and you know, Kaplan maybe say, "Hey, I'm about to retire." I think they bring him in. I think they just want him to get a little bit more schooling as a coach. But as far as his experience, he'll be the guy that will be getting down in the trenches with those young guys and showing them how it's done. He's a guy, once the guys Google him and find out who he really is, they're gonna have big time respect for him. Young enough to relate to, still relate to those guys. And this is a huge signing to me. I definitely like it. I definitely like it, and I think that's going to work out very well for the Steelers in the long run. Okay, moving over to the defensive side, defensive coordinator Patrick Graham. Again, great coach. Was some people say, well, why you want to hire a coach from the Raiders? But he did a great job there. He did a great job there. He's like a 17-year vet. Um, so I just think that he's committed to the 3-4, but I think he's gonna run different type schemes. I just, to me, and I've always said it, and I'm not gonna hide from it. I thought the Steelers was a bad coach team. I just think they were a bad coach team, and I think now you bring some guys in here that's going to be motivated and gets some of these older players out of their comfort zone, get them doing things that maybe the other coaches couldn't get them to do, or if they don't want to do it, they probably won't be here. So that's going to be a situation that they're gonna have to figure out, because and a lot of times you hear like TJ Watt is the guy that, hey, we could trade him, this and that. But TJ Watt is gonna have to make a decision of either he's gonna get down with the program, and to me, we don't even know. I mean, was it TJ Watt, or was it just that he was never asked to do something? Because I really can't see a coach basically telling him, well, we want you to do this, and he just flat out saying no. So I just think he will scheme up the defense way better than what it's been doing. Move some guys around. Kind of, if I'm TJ Watt, I'm thinking one of his selling points going to be with TJ Watt is to see how how I coach Max Crosby and different things that he's done. I can get you doing that type stuff, but you have a better surrounding cast than what I had in Las Vegas. So we could probably do even more things with you. So I think it's a positive thing. I think it's a positive thing. The defensive line coach, that position is open. Haven't really heard anything what's going on there, so we'll have to see how that turns out. Inside linebackers, this is the coach they're retaining, Scotty McCurley. Um, been with the team for maybe 3 seasons. Well, this will be his third season here. Again, as you can see, he was in Dallas with McCartney, and he's just another guy that it was always kind of known that he was going to be back. Um, the inside linebackers, for the most part, they played okay. Like I say, Patrick Queen catches a lot of strays, and a lot of people saying he should be cut and this and that. But I think with Patrick Queen, one of the things that you had to find out with him, Patrick Queen is not a big guy. He's not a big guy. So even in the Ravens defense, he was surrounded by the Ravens had those big guys in front of him, and they protected him. And Patrick Queen is one of those guys. He really needs to be protected, because if he's like I say, he's already not a big guy. And then if he got to shed off blocks and all that, that's not his strong suit. So in a few games where the Pittsburgh Steelers front line was doing what they supposed to do, Patrick Queen did okay. So again, I think a change in philosophy. I think if the Steelers definitely gonna stay with this 3-4, they bring in the right type guys they need on that D line to protect their linebackers, and you can get a lot more out of those guys. So that's where I'm at with that. On the outside linebacker position is not open. It's open actually, and again, I'm gonna wait till it's official. But the guy that they're gonna interview tomorrow for this position, I am very, very excited about that. He's going to bring that intensity. It's going to be a very good hire if the guy they reporting that they can bring in or they're interviewing tomorrow, if they can get him to take the position, um, that's going to be a very good thing. So we'll see. Like I say, this is a situation that probably he probably be hired tomorrow. If the interview goes good, I'm quite sure he's going to be hired tomorrow. Secondary coach. This is a one of those situations. Gerald Alexander, the DB coach from last year, had a group. Well, I guess they thought that he was coming back, and maybe a verbal agreement that I'm back. But other day, Minnesota Vikings moved in, gave him a title, gave him the passing game coordinator, and obviously gave him more money, and he moved on. So the Steelers actually got Jack. They actually got Jack for a coach other day, but they it might have been a possibility that they kind of seen that coming because they did make a move to fix that. So they bought in Simmons, and today they basically gave him the title of the defensive passing coordinator, and he's a DB coach. So he's going to be the DB coach and passing game coordinator for the Steelers. So it worked out. It worked out. So I'm assuming his position, he was actually really just brought in as a defensive assistant, which probably was going to help out with the DB coach. So they're probably going to bring in a guy that's kind of going to replace him and be the defensive assistant, probably the work with the safeties or something. I don't know how they're going to title it, but that's what happened there. Um, Played for the Steelers. If you look at his coaching thing that he's been through, um, he's leaving Washington. He was their defensive passing game coordinator. He was with the Raiders, and he was their defensive pass coordinators and DB coach, which that's what he's going to hold here in Pittsburgh. And he worked with Graham, so they're comfortable working with each other. Um, he was at Carolina Panthers. He was the DB coach. He was at Green Bay. He was a defensive assistant, secondary coach, and assistant special teams coach. So that might be some things that he'll work with as far as what's going on with Pittsburgh. As you can see, the special teams coordinator, that position is open. I know a lot of people were kind of hurt that Danny Smith is out of there, but we'll see. What you got here, Yolanda? Trey, yes, please trade Watt. He's been he's been a thorn in our flesh for years. Yeah. I don't really see it because I his contract is crazy, and I just think Watt is gonna have a heart to heart with his new position. Like I say, we'll see. But if he gets the new position coach that I see the Steelers are interviewing, and I think the way Coach Graham is going to run the defense, I think TJ Watt's going to be motivated. I think he's going to feel like it's a new beginning for him, and he's staying in Pittsburgh. I don't really see him. I don't see him going nowhere. That's I think a lot of that is more the fans just frustrated that making 40-some $million and didn't play nowhere near that contract this past season. So I think with that said, I think Watt gonna be fine, and he'll be a Pittsburgh Steelers until he retire. Now this is one hire I had mixed I had mixed emotions about this one. I did like the fact that and this is another one of my things that I've always brought up. Um, I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers was a strong football team. Not like how they used to. Like the one thing with the Steelers back in, and I'm not gonna go back in the day, but just go back maybe 10, 15 years ago. Well, I guess that's going back in the day. They were a team that win or lose, when you played the Pittsburgh Steelers, you were going to be beat up. And it was just a good chance that if you play when you played the Steelers the next week, you probably was going to lose because you're trying to recover from the physical pounding that you got the week before. And I just don't feel like the Steelers were that team. Um, I don't, and then when you look at the Steelers, you got a lot of older veterans, so I can almost tell, not being there, but I almost can tell them guys ain't. I mean, they're staying in shape, but they ain't. They not going in that weight room and really hitting that iron the way they need to be. So I've always thought that the Steelers needed strength and conditioning coach that was going to really get these guys in the weight room, get these guys stronger. Because to me, I mean, you see it. Um, when they play the Baltimore Ravens, it ain't they're not getting out schemed. They're not the Ravens are not out scheming them. Even like the Browns, they're not out scheming the Steelers. They're pushing them around. When the Steelers play the Ravens, especially these last couple of years, it's not that the Ravens is just out scheming them or doing some things that Steelers don't know. They know exactly what Baltimore do, but Baltimore lines up and just punches them in the mouth. And a lot of teams do that. I mean, look when they played the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills only ran maybe like 5 different plays that whole game, and they just punched them in the mouth. And I think part of it wasn't a strong team. So I wanted a new strength and conditioning coach. We got one. Now again, this is a Green Bay thing. He's been doing this for 25 years. So he's been with Green Bay all these years, and then the last 2 years he's been at Tennessee, and he served as their assistant strength and conditioning coach. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. I maybe and I'm not gonna sit here and try to act like I know all the strength and conditioning coaches out here, but I don't know. I was just maybe really looking for a younger guy, but you know what? Maybe this is what they need. Maybe Lovett can get these guys going, and really get them in that weight room and get these guys stronger, get this team stronger. So maybe by being an older guy, maybe with an older team, he probably has an understanding of how hard he can push these guys, and the guy's going to have respect. And that's another thing, because if you are a younger guy and you got these veterans, they maybe not really respect you all like that. So maybe this was a good thing that you're bringing in an older guy that's been there, done that, and they may have more respect for him. So we'll just have to see how this goes. And Steve Snarketti, chief of staff. This is something that he's been doing. He started off with the New York Jets doing it, and then he moved over to Atlanta, and he's basically, he's a chief of staff. So he's going, at least what he did in Atlanta, and I'm quite sure this is what he's going to do here in Pittsburgh. He handled the daily practice and meeting schedules. He oversees the football budgeting, whatever that could be. Coordinate team and staff events, and provide administrative support to the coaching staff. So he'll be the guy that's printing up game plans and printing up practice plans and all that type stuff. And again, this is just something where the head coach don't have to deal with it, or the coaches for that matter. I mean, everything to be laid out for those guys. So at the end of the day, all those guys have to do is just focus on football, focus on coaching, all the other little stuff. They won't have to worry about it. Probably when they go out to the practice field, wherever their little area is at, everything is already set up for them, especially in training camp. Everything's set up for them. The pads they need, the footballs, and all that stuff. So he's going to make everything easy for these guys, and all they got to do is focus on football. And I truly don't believe the Steelers had this position with Coach Tomlin. They may have, but I just don't really remember them really having a chief of staff. Maybe they had somebody, they just named them something different. But that's where we at. That's where the Steelers are at right now with their coaching staff. I think it'll be more to come. I think it'll be more guys getting hired. Like I say, I think the offensive coordinator, if it might be named already as I'm speaking, but I think the offensive coordinator should be probably named today, if not tomorrow for sure. They're bringing in the outside linebacker. Outside linebacker coach, which I'm very excited about, and I think they should get that done. Um, I'm quite sure they may have some more defensive assistants, offensive assistants type guys coming in. And I believe by the end of this week, the Pittsburgh Steelers are pretty much have their whole staff together and just starting getting ready to get ready for the draft. Get ready for the draft. And we're gonna have our first mock draft coming out tomorrow. Um, I actually did the draft today, and a lot of surprises on there. A lot of surprises on there. I mean, like I say, I use the draft simulator. So it'll be different every week. Sometimes just depend on how the computer want to act. You get some picks that I just believe it is no way that that'll happen. But you only can do what you can do. So we got that coming out. We got that coming out tomorrow. Our first mock draft, and we'll see. We'll see how many guys we can hit on. And what's up, Dwayne? How you doing, man? We'll see how many guys we can hit on, and we'll just go from there. So until next time, you guys take care. And I think actually my mock draft will not be alive. I think I'm just gonna record it and just release it. So I'll see. I'll see how my schedule goes tomorrow. But we'll have that done, and that's it. And we'll just talk about football and see how the Steelers can maintain and get the things they need to make this team better. So with that said, you guys take care. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks, Yolanda. And talk to you later. All right. Bye-bye.